Hello everyone, and welcome to a bit of an atypical video for my channel. It is about After the End, which is a Crusader Kings 3 mod. I was really not familiar with this mod at all until very recently when it was brought up to my attention on one of my community posts and suggested for me to play. I wasn't expecting much from it based on the name, but I have to admit it is one of the most original mods that I have seen for Crusader Kings 3, and I really want to get a little bit deeper into it, and I'm hoping that you guys, some of you that might be familiar with it, will help me with that. So what's going on? Basically, After the End is a mod which is taking place in the year 2666, about 600 to 700 years, nobody knows exactly, after a great disaster that has swept through the world and threw humanity back a couple thousand years, basically. And now, around the year 2666, many new nations are arising in a semi-feudal, semi-tribal state, and they are competing, is probably the best word, over the territory of North and South America. Now, I'm gonna show you what the map looks like completely, so that you get the idea of the scope, and then we're gonna look at the map a little bit closer. I'm going to show you what kind of suggested areas for play they are, but really the point of this video is to ask you guys what you think would be fun to play, because one of the points why it was brought up to me was that there isn't that much coverage on YouTube about this mod, and I would like to change that and bring some interesting stories to you. But the way it is set up, there is pretty much, well, we could play anywhere. And I'm gonna share some opinions on this as we're gonna go through, and I would really like to hear back from you guys what you would like, because this is a video that should be about the future. I'm gonna go through your comments, discuss it with you, and then in a couple of days I would have held an official vote based on the most intriguing suggestions that you will have, and based on the result of that one we are going to play. So as you can see, the map is actually, turned 90 degrees due to the limitations of the game engine, but you can see it covers the entirety of the South and North America, including the Caribbean. Unfortunately, there's no Hawaii, but what can you do? There's also Canada, Alaska, and it goes all the way up even to what is Greenland, I suppose. The map is a little bit weird in this, but I suppose that's Greenland. So you can see there's various small and large nations. There's, for example, the Empire of Brazil, which is huge and very well united. California, for some reason, is also united. I find it kind of funny that California is united. And there's, what is this, a Holy Colombian Commonwealth right on top of Florida. But for example, Cuba is that's one of the nations that I thought would go well with the whole feudal setup. That one is fractured. Haiti and the surrounding territories are also fractured. All of these islands are separate. So that's kind of a lot going on, and the map is really huge. It feels bigger to me than the actual Crusader Kings 3 map. Maybe because I never really interacted with the Indian and even Middle Eastern territories when I was playing. But here it is a little bit more consistent. So these are the actual domains. Of course that there are, duchy titles, kingdom titles, and empire titles. And again, I would like to hear what you guys would like to see. So with this in mind, let me just show you what the game suggests, and we can then discuss what my ideas are. So there's north of the 60, which is taking place in the very north territories above United States, so Canada and the green. Oh yeah, it is Greenland, really. There's a couple of characters here that are really interesting, but the reason why I kind of don't like this territory is that they are all tribal. There's only one who is feudal, which is Duke of Kenai, High Chieftain Nicholas. There's also High Chieftain Nanook over here, and then there's Morgana La Fai, which is unfortunately also tribal, but is one of the characters that kind of piqued my interest because, you know, a warrior princess basically. Then there's the Ghost of the North, which is taking place in the northeast United States. I noticed that this is probably the best covered part of the mod on YouTube, so I kind of avoided. There is, I think, even a couple of Let's Plays about the Duke of New York, but there's other, you know, interesting characters here that might be interesting. Actually, what I'm gonna do here, because I don't want to spend time reading this all, I'm just gonna show you the characters and their descriptions. If you want to, if someone piques your interest and looks like something you would be interested, you can read it, pause the video and see if there's someone that would make sense to you. But again, the North is not something that I'm that interested. If I would, the High Chieftain Nicholas would probably be the most interesting person to me. The Ghost of the North, as I said, Duke Thaddeus, I guess it's pronounced. He's a Duke of New York, High Republic, so that one has been done and overdone already. There's King Abram the Seventh, who is an interesting character, but unfortunately it's marked as easy, so he's probably having a little bit too nice of a route. There's Constantine, who is tribal, and he looks as he is tribal. King Morvid II, King Roland of Turcotte, King Paul of Castell, Queen Caitlin, and King Baldus. Now, Untamed West is interesting. This looks a little bit more like an area where we could do interesting stuff, but it's a bit weird because there's all of these tribal nomadic nations here, which look and feel, you know, as return to the traditional life of the Native Americans, compared to the feudal and nomadic invader tribes. I don't know how this, you know, say it. I haven't really investigated it too much, but again, the fact that these are nomadic and not feudal is driving me away from this area. But maybe it would be kind of interesting to try a nomadic nation. I'm not sure. Now, the Sunshine Saga is where I have delved, because this actually seemed like a territory that would be fun for me, you know, sunny Florida. And there's actually a character here that I tried and who is quite fun, Emir Ali Fabulous He. And if I narrow it down to the very bottom, basically everybody in this era is an asshole, and he is the only cool guy. He's the only guy who is thinking about the people, which led me to actually try him, and it's kind of fun. I'm testing various things on his character. Not that I would be doing a full playthrough, but I'm just, you know, reading the descriptions and looking around, and he really is an interesting character. So that's definitely someone I would suggest we try, and I'm definitely going to include him in the vote. His biggest nemesis is Captain Jose, who is actually part of his territory, but he used to be a Corsar, a buccaneer, they call them, and he used to rule this entire territory, terrorize it, kill people, torture them for fun, until Ali came around and subjugating him. So you start with this guy absolutely hating your guts. He's your rival minus 100, and he's immediately trying to kill you. So that's kind of fun. Then you have High Chieftain James II here, High Chieftain Elias here. Then we have Duke Usnavi and Count Horata. So really interesting characters here. I absolutely love the style that they went wild with. You know, what could the fashion look like in a couple hundred years if there was something like this happening. Then there's the Sea of Cannibals, which is another very interesting territory. I like Celia as a character here. She's feudal. I didn't try her, but I think that it could be fun to try to unite the surrounding territory under the command of a strong woman, though I'm not sure how long the Duchess of Oriente would survive herself, because I do have the Plague DLC, and boy does the game go overboard on spreading disease everywhere. Then the Omara the Young, which is ruling Buena Vista, and Captain Jacques. Difficulty. Yar. That's amazing. Jack is like, I didn't read this. What does it say? Jack is like Sparrow, completely unremarkable. He is not the smartest, the strongest, not the best of the pirates, but he may be the luckiest, as he has risen recently as the ruler of the nest of killers, horrors, and raiders, that is the island of Tortuga. His domain is far from impressive, and his name is hardly known, but maybe one day that will change. Oh, this guy could be fun. I have never really looked into him, but he could be fun. And then there's King Esau II, King Israel, Duke Ramon, Duke Aloysius, and Queen Portilla. Then there's 600 years of solitude, not isolation. This is dealing with the north of South America. There's a lot of characters here. I haven't checked this territory at all, but might be also something interesting. There's Ariel over here, Oneida, Arcadio III, Bendición, Maria, Machique, I guess. This is a feudal. Interesting. Bayardo, Doña Barbara. Oh, that's actually a great name, but she's nomadic. That kind of is interesting. There's Raphael, who is also nomadic, and Udoni, High Republic. Interesting. And then the last territory that it's suggesting is the central and western South America, including, the Empire of Brazil, which please do not suggest that one. I don't like starting. I like the challenge, and this one is definitely, but it might be interesting to play in the vicinity and deal with Empire of Brazil. I have a feeling that they might actually, it's King of Salvador, but I thought this territory was called Empire of Brazil. Oh wait, he's not the emperor. He is this is the Emperor of Brazil. Okay, and you are King of Salvador, but you're part of the territory. Okay, gotcha. And King of Minas. And there's Eduardo das Mortes, who is actually on the border of Brazil, but also has the imperial bureaucracy. Zezé. There's Jaciendi, Alfredo, and then Erico. Apart from these characters, I've also been looking a little bit around the map, and there's two areas that I really like that I wanted to also bring to your attention. So, sorry, the mod is loading with a lot of data. So, I like the area of Texas. Well, I mean, it's not exactly Texas. Well, I think it is Texas. Damn, I would need an overlay. I apologize. I know that but this is Houston. So, Greater Houston, so that definitely is the area of Texas. And there's Galveston. So I kind of like this guy. He's very unremarkable, Colonel Jesse of Greater Houston. But this area might be fun. There's a couple of big players around. I'm not sure why this area is not suggested at all. But he is in a really interesting area surrounded by other people. I absolutely adore the fact that they have the sheriff's star, or that it devolved into something like that. That's really cool. And then I was also thinking about the area around here, which is like the greater, I guess that would be greater Seattle area, or like, I don't know. But there's a lot of smaller nations here governed by women, which is really interesting. What are these? I never really treacherous villain. I don't think paramour. high warning. National Park of Olympus. Which would probably mean that we then have to deal with the tribal nations that are located over here. But it could be also fun, you know. There's Vancouver Island, so if we put it in this area, it might seem cool. So this is, I guess, as an introduction, really the basic that I wanted to show you. I don't know much about the mod, but I'm hoping that you guys will. And then there's gonna be suggestions from your side where to look to, because the mod is very overwhelming and I always just enjoy jumping in the mod and learning most about the Crusader Kings world inside the world. So if you have any suggestions, any ideas, or if anything that I showed on the screen piqued your interest, let me know. I'll be happy to, if you have additional questions, to dig into the mod and answer them. For example, if you say like, look guys, the nation of Patricia looks interesting, can you tell me more about it, Alpha? So I would, you know, look at it and we can discuss it. Again, it is about what would be interesting to you, because I suppose most playthroughs were done again around the area of New York, United States, but nobody really cared much about South America. So that might also, well, I haven't really looked at this area. That could also be kind of interesting. Cochieres, Tierra del Fuego. Is there any empire down here? Empire of Patagonia. Interesting. Cerrado, Amazonia. Well, alright. Well, that's all that I wanted to say. I'm really looking forward to your suggestions and ideas and questions, because this really looks like something that I would like to cover. So, thank you very much, and I will see you in another video, whatever that might be. Till then, you guys take care.